Hello, and today I'm going to show you how to make a calendar in Adobe InDesign. So now this is going to be a calendar that I'm going to be using in my day-to-day life. So it's probably going to be a little bit more off the cuff than I usually do tutorials. There are a lot of tutorials out there on how to generate a calendar in InDesign. However, the methods that they use, which is using bullets and numbering to generate your calendar, doesn't work for how I want to create my calendar. When you use bullets and numbering to make the numbers just automatically go in InDesign, it means you can't type on the next line in the same table cell to add events, and I really want to do that. So for this tutorial, I am going to be working with a calendar that I've made in Excel. So I've got that set up here, and I'll be importing it or copy and pasting it into Adobe InDesign to make my calendar. So the first thing that I want to do is generate my table. So we're going to do that. So table, create table. Now I'm going to be making just January in this tutorial. However, because of how I work, if a month has 6 weeks in it, I don't want it to go back to the first line. So I make every calendar based on a 6-week calendar, and then I'll delete the last row if I don't need it. And that ensures they're all the same size. It just means that I have, a consistent amount of space to write about my events. So for body rows, I've got 8, and then columns, I have 7. So I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to click and drag to make my table. Now, this first row here is going to be my month name, so I'm going to highlight that one. Now, all editing you do in tables, you need to be in the type tool. So I'm just going to click to the side to highlight that. You see these arrows popping up. And then I'm going to merge these cells. You can use the properties panel to merge the cells. There's buttons down the bottom here, but I've set up a shortcut for myself, so that is Command M, but that won't work for you guys. So I'm going to type in January. And then here, this is going to be my weekdays. So we're going to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so now these are going to be my month days. So I'm going to highlight both the cells. So I'm just clicking and dragging. And I don't want the outline or the stroke to be in between all of that. So I'm going to get rid of that. So in the properties panel, and if you don't have the properties panel open, you can go Window and then find Properties. I'm going to click on the word stroke, and I'm going to deselect this bottom row here. So that's blue. Tick it off, it turns black or gray. And turn on the center ones and this border one. So that's what I've got selected. And then I'm going to put the weight to 0. So now that has turned off the stroke. If I go to the move tool and hit W to view in preview mode, you can see that there's no longer a stroke there. T for the type tool. So now I'm going to change the fonts for these ones. So I prefer to use Operetta for my fonts. So I'm going to use Opera 18 Demi Bold for this one and put it up to like 30 or something, and I'll center align that. So that's what that looks like. For these ones, I'll do something similar. Operetta probably 12, and I'll go with medium maybe. Center align all of those. And I'm just going to drag this up for my table size. And drag that one up a little bit as well. Now I'm going to just take just a rendering bug. Back to the type tool, I'm just going to highlight all of these, and I'm going to make them a bit longer, a bit taller. So in here, it's at 2.3. Let's try 2.5, 2.6 maybe. There we go. I just usually trial and error until I reach the columns. Now, I don't like how thick the stroke is on my calendar, so I'm just going to highlight all of that, click on the word stroke, tick on all of the lines for that, and I'm going to put that to 0.5. So I go to preview, W, I can see how that looks. Now I'm actually going to increase the font size for these days of the week. So instead of 12, let's go with 14. And I could give them a little bit more padding. And to extend my frame, I'm just going to go Command Option C or Control Alt C. So there we have the basic structure of my table. Now, before I import in all of my dates and things, I'm going to start making some styles. So I'm going to be using cell styles and paragraph styles for this. If you're using the default, you maybe don't need like cell styles, but I want something a little bit more customized. So that's what I'm going to do. And actually, I will import my numbers just so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to highlight all of these, copy, and then I'm just going to paste them all into here. Depending on a lot of factors, you might have to paste into a text box before you paste into your calendar. So a really common thing is sometimes it all goes into the first cell. So what you can do is you can just put a text box in, paste it. This has now become tabbed text. And we can see that if we turn on our hidden characters. That's type, show hidden characters. And then this is the icon for tab. So this is now tab text, and it will easily paste into your table if you've got a differently formatted sort of table. Just delete that text box. Oh, so I don't need this bottom cell. I could either delete it, which I can highlight all of that and go Command Delete or Control Delete, or I can just turn off the stroke for these cells. So deselect the top one and then put it down to 0. And that effectively makes it go bye-bye. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just start on one cell, and I'm going to start changing its appearance about. So I'm going to go right align it because that's how my numbers will be, just so I can see. And then we're going to go Command Option B or Control Alt B. And this brings up our cell options. Now, this actually isn't the font that I'm going to use. So I'm going to do it with the font that I'm going to use, which is Operator. Now, Operator uses old style letters, so they've got a lower baseline. So that makes it a little bit trickier for, the alignment of the insets and everything. Oops. So now let's go back to Command Option B or Control Alt B and turn this off. So turning this off means I'll be editing all of these individually. And we're going to increase that right one, 0.2, maybe 0.25. And the left one will actually be the same because I'll have text going to the next line that's left aligned. For the top, I'm pretty happy with it. For the bottom, it can stay as is. It's very fine. And then I'm just going to go OK. So this is the cell style that I want to use. I'm very happy with this. So I'm going to hit Escape, go Window, Styles, Cell Styles. And I'm going to click this plus to make a new cell style. And I'm going to call this Calendar. And I'm not going to put a paragraph style in it because I'm going to have a lot of paragraph styles. And I could make a cell style for all of them, but because they've all got the same inset settings and all that, it doesn't make a difference. So I'm just going to save the cell style, okay, and I'll set my own paragraph styles for it. So now I will select the whole thing and use the calendar cell style, and then I'll just keep styling my text. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to make a new paragraph style. So I'll go up here, go new paragraph style. And this one I'm going to call body on. And you can ignore that I'm doing this on the 30th. This will become body off because 30th will be from December. So that will be for the days that aren't included in the month, and I'll have different settings for them. but since it will be based on this paragraph style, I'm setting the main paragraph style first. So all of my paragraph styles, or all of my numbering paragraph styles, will be based on this one. So I only have to make drastic changes to this one for them all to reciprocate. So we double click on U, and we're going to just change some paragraph shading. So we'll turn it on, and so this adds a paragraph shading. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to not highlight that so I can see a bit better. There we go. So back to my paragraph shading. We've got, once again, offsets, so we can change all of this, and that will be how it far away from the edge of the text it goes. So right now it is the width is the column. So that's why I have them the same size on both sides, so that this is dead center. So I'm going to turn this off, and on the right I'm going to do 0.1, so that extends out there. The left, do the same, so it's even on both sides. The top, I'm going to see about changing the top. That might become a minus offset to bring it down a bit. For the bottom, I'm going to try 0.1, and that looks about right anyway, so I think I'm just going to keep that, but I could go 0.05 and then this one minus 0.05, and I actually think I like that a bit better, so we'll do that. And then for the color, I don't have a color swatch set up yet, so I'm going to do that now. We'll just click OK on this. So get out of preview mode, W. And that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment, but I'm going to pick some colors. So I'll change that to hue so I can pick colors a little more easily, but I can change the swatch to CMYK swatches later. So for the body, I kind of want to do like a light grayish blue, like that. I quite like that, so we'll add a swatch. And I'm just going to see what that looks like with that swatch. So go back to paragraph shading and change it to that color. Now my tint is a bit light, so we'll go 50%. And that's really pretty. I like that. However, I'm going to have a ton of paragraph styles because of how I'm formatting this character. So I'm going to get started on creating those now. So we're going to go OK. So that's great. We've got body on sorted now. And now we're going to create a new one. And this one is going to be called body off. It's based on body on, so any changes I make will reflect in this. And then for character color, I'm going to change my tint to 60% probably. And then for my paragraph shading, I'm going to change the tint to about 30%. So if we go OK, that's what that looks like. If I apply it to this one, that's what off, that's what on looks like. So I quite like that. I might change these settings around, maybe make the text a bit darker, but the good thing is that I can change this in my paragraph styles. So off is based on. Now I'm going to have a range of styles for things like public holidays. Because I teach, I need to have my term time dates, the exam period, just the kind of things like that. So I have a whole system I like to use every year to make my calendars. It's very involved. And so every style that I have generated for on, it's also going to be for off. So it's going to be a fair amount of work. So off will be based on, and then so I have my main styles, and then they'll all be based on their styles. So it's going to be a bit hectic, but we'll get there. I'm not using the template that I usually use because one, some things are changing from my systems from previous years, and two, it's really hard to show you guys as a tutorial when I've already made all of the swatches and all of the styles that I need to use. So that's kind of how that works. So the next one I'm going to make is going to be a paragraph style for my public holidays. So I'll make a swatch for that. Let's bring that up to a purple. Maybe about there. And so the first is a public holiday, so that's what we'll do. So we're going to make a new paragraph style. And then this one is going to be body on public holiday based on body on. There it goes. So we're going to go to paragraph shading for the color. We'll change it to that one. Lovely. And so that's how that looks. So now we'll generate one for body off. So you can also just right click, duplicate style. You can do it that way. So body off, public holiday. And then we do the color paragraph shading to that one. And I'll name my swatches now before I forget. So I've got them here. Name it. I don't want to name it. We'll call this body. That's kind of like no events are happening. And this one we will call public holiday. And that one is out of gamut, so we'll change that. And that will change it across like my whole document, which is great. So that's how that is looking. So over here, we're going to have some term time. So I will make a new swatch for the term time. Pop that away. Let's make a new color. So term time for me is green. So let's go and get a green. Might have to make changes to it. Let's go with that. So I'm going to close my cell styles now. And I'll just organize these a little bit. So we're going to duplicate this one. So we're going to call it T for term. And then paragraph shading. I don't have that swatch. I didn't set that swatch because that was silly of me. So we're going to go to paragraph shading, change to that one. And then let's do it here. So all of these ones will be term. That's how they're looking. And I'm starting to see some issues with my shading. So that's all right. The good news is I can change that all on just one of them and it will change it on all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it more space on top and bottom. So we'll go to body on, paragraph shading, and we'll just tick that up to 0. And I didn't base those on it, did I? Okay. So same with you, you're based on body on. Ooh. That's not good. Body off. Cool. So that should all be set up now. So we'll get you, paragraph shading, put you back up to 1, perfect. And let's have a look at how that looks for like 31, something with a really low. Now this font does have regular numbers, so I don't have to use the old style ones. I like the old style numbers, but it does pose a bit of a unique challenge for me. So there's the 9. I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with that green though, so I might edit that just a little bit. That's a bit neon, add some black to it. I'm happy with that, I think. I might come back and change it. Who knows? So let's do the rest of these with that. So we'll go to our paragraph styles. These are body on term. And then these ones are all body on, same with these ones. And then these ones are body off. So that's kind of how we're looking. I'm not loving the blue now. I think I want to make it a little bit more of a neutral color because this for me is really like more of a work calendar. So let's, not the saturation. Maybe I'll change it to, if I make it CMYK, that might be a bit easier for me to do. I kind of want it to be a bit more of like a gray toned blue. Let's take out that cyan. Yeah, I think I like that. And then if I go into my styles and I find body off, I might make that tint a bit more solid. So if we bring that up to 40%, and then on body on, we could bring that up a bit as well. So it's 50%, let's try 60%. And yeah, I think that's pretty good for the difference between those. Great, so now if I'm putting in like, so let's say this one's going to be a new thing, we want it to be, let's say this is New Year's Day. I don't know if there's meant to be an apostrophe in that. I'm going to make a paragraph style out of this one. And we'll call this body info. And I don't actually want it to be based on any paragraph style. So let's go reset to base. So that will just put it back to nothing. Next style, same style, that's good. We're going to make it a bullets and numbering, so list type bullets. Cute. I'm going to change the tab position a bit so it's less far away. Let's make the font size a lot smaller. And let's make it operator so it matches everything else. Great. So now I've encountered an issue that this is overlapping with this. I can either do a space before for this one, or I can do a space after for this one, which I think that's what I want to do, is a space after for this one. And I'm going to change that bullet position again to 0.25. That seems good. So we're going to go, just deselect all my styles, body on. And then we want indents and spacing, space after. Let's do 0.3. Is that too much? No, I think I nailed that. So that's great. And then I should have done this from the beginning. I should have set this style, but I'm going to change all of these to have a next style. So body on, next style, we're going to do body info. So, okay. Next style, body on, info. And these ones are body off, so I think I'll make the a new style for the off day info. So, but what this means now is when I go, oh, I want to add some information to this new line, and it's, you see it switched to body info, and so I will say summer school semester 1 starts. And I don't like this. I'm going to change my bullets to a hanging indent. So body info, bullets and numbering. So we change that to a hanging indent. So that means that when it goes to a new line, it will drop to, that bullet won't interfere with it. And I'm also going to turn off hyphenation actually before I forget. No hyphenation for me. I don't like that. Oh, alrighty, so let's do another one for the term. So duplicate you based on body off. And then we've got our, what did that say? Our 60% shading. Cool, so let's change the name. And we'll just move you down. It's very finicky moving the styles. So now I'm going to select all of you, make a folder, put you all in it. So we're going to call this body on. These ones. Call them body off. You can right click them and be like new group out of styles. So you can do that. It's bothering me that that's not a capital. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. Body off info. And then for the character color, I am going to make it a 60% tint. So that means if I have any information for these ones, it will go into that one. So for body off, we will now do next style, body off info. Body off info and body, oh, that one changed. That's good. Great. So that means as I have more of these to add, it will keep updating. So let's say I wanted to add my cat's birthday. We would say Taco's birthday, and it just immediately switches to the next paragraph style, which is great for me. So with this method, you can't do a lot of things, unfortunately, that you can do with the bullets and numbering method. Let me change that style to the right one. There we are. So there are a lot of things that, you can't do, like automating it, changing it for the next year. But with this method, you can do a lot in terms of adding extra details here. Whereas if you were to add a new line under and you've got the numbering and bullet set up, this one would be 2, this one would be 3. You wouldn't be able to add that info underneath. I've seen some people saying that what you can do is adding in a table directly on top of it that has insets to accommodate the numbers, but that can get a bit complicated, especially when you need to click and edit it. So this is just how I build all of my calendars for me. I hope you liked that video. It was definitely a little bit more train of thought than usual. I just wanted to get something up and get out of the mindset of it needing to be perfect. So this is just something that I've been actively working on for the past few weeks. And then a demonstration of what I've been working on. I'll probably release more tutorials kind of like this. So yeah, if you like that video, like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll be making more videos specifically around building planners because it is consuming a lot of my life right now is building my work planner for next year. So bye.